back then. Harden recorded his fourth career postseason triple-double. It was the first by a Net since Jason Kidd. Yes, of course, back in 2007. Boston is out of the postseason in the first round for the first time since 2016. Let's hear from some of the participants as Brooklyn wins at 123-109 to send the Celtics packing.
Just balancing the satisfaction of winning this opening round series with the task that lies ahead in this journey that you've talked about throughout the season.
Yeah, no, we just want to take it one day at a time. Obviously when we get ahead of ourselves, that usually doesn't work out for us. So we just want to take it one day at a time as we develop more of a collective effort that we can be consistent with. I just feel like we've made strides in just a short period of time. It seems like 3 weeks ago we were talking about getting on the same page, doing the little things in order for us to win, continuously boxing out, rebounding and stopping teams from feeling comfortable against us out there. So in any competitive field, you want your opponent to feel some type of physicality, so you make it harder on them, and I feel like we did that.
Malika Andrews with ESPN.
Earlier, both James and Steve touched on just that they felt that this was just good to have an extended run with all of you together. Is that the thing that you're most taking from this series for you guys? Was that time you guys got together, or is it something else that you want to translate for moving forward?
I think I agree with his sentiment. We we don't want to take any of this time for granted. We know this doesn't happen too often, kind of in our culture and our history where, three of the best scorers to ever play the game, on one team. And then you have a collection of guys that have done unbelievable things as well in this league, either coming off the bench or starting with us. So, we just want everyone to feel good. We're a selfless group. And we try to make sure it's not just about us three, but we do understand that the expectations on us to perform and to lead our team, it's just inevitable. So we welcome that, but we just don't want to, get too ahead of ourselves, like I said before.
Christian Winfield with New York Daily News.
Hey, what's going on, Kyrie? James said just a second ago that he's already thinking about this series coming up with the Bucks. I'm wondering if you give yourself a chance to rest before you even start thinking about that, or if your mind is already there, and B, if there's anything that you can take from this series that maybe you can apply to the next series going against them.
Yeah, no, we do understand it's a long journey, so we want to celebrate our small wins. It's easy, to consider the Bucks. Obviously, they're right in front of us in a few days. So I agree. I'm right in the same boat with him. Excited to think about the task at hand. How great that team is, and what it's going to take to be successful against them on both ends of the floor. So we'll deal with that when that time comes. But as of right now, we just celebrate the small wins. Thankful we got out here healthy. We played against, kind of a lesser Celtics team than what it's been in the regular season. So, we want to give all the respect to those guys and the amount of work they put in as well. We don't want to disrespect them or anything that they put forth in terms of their hard work. That boy Jason Tatum, as I said, over the time that I played with him, has grown tremendously. Nothing short of proud of him, nothing short of proud of Smart, all the guys that have come in and, gave us, their competitive spirit. So now we move on and, we take what we learned from this series and move forward.
Tatum had 122 points over the final 3 games of this series, but the Boston Celtics are done for 2021. Meanwhile, the Nets, who get 83 out of their big 3, will play a much-anticipated series against the Brooklyn Nets starting on Saturday on their home floor. These two teams played a couple of incredible games late in the regular season. What are you looking forward to most about this matchup?
Playing chess. You got to try to, slow down Giannis. You can't let him in the paint. He has to guard KD on the other end. So I think just seeing all of the chess moves and then, how each team, has to come back because Milwaukee has a bunch of shooters. And, they've kind of built that team to, be solid now, in the postseason. But then also Brooklyn, they have three of the most, dynamic players out there. So it's going to be fun to see.
It is really interesting. Milwaukee will miss Dante Vincenzo, rather. He's out for the rest of the postseason. They have a lot of depth, but obviously Brooklyn has the best top-end talent of any team in the postseason right now. How do you see the matchup?
The adjustment I'm looking for is Brooklyn Nets. Do you still stay small with Blake Griffin at the 5? Do you now play DeAndre Jordan because of Brook Lopez? But then also on the other side is, I think for the Milwaukee Bucks right now is, who does Drew Holiday guard? That's what I really want to know. I mean, because I know he's going to end up guarding a lot, but will that matchup be Kyrie Irving? Will that matchup be James Harden? Because that's the difference. He's going to have to not take one of them out, just slow them down. And for me, I think it would be more a James Harden because of the scoring and passing, because there'll be a lot of pick and rolls with him. It's more isolation with the other two. So that's going to be interesting. And then, right now is we talk about the stars, but there's got to be a hero off the bench, or that unsung hero. Is that Joe Harris? Is that I look at it as Bobby Portis. There's some guys, Bryn Forbes.
Bryn Forbes has been great in the postseason.
Somebody else has to step up, and these coaches, it's going to be a chess match.
Yeah, really, really interesting. A lot of people have been looking forward to that matchup even before the first round began, anticipating it. For the Boston Celtics, I think most folks would agree that they underachieved in the regular season. It was a choppy season. They had a bunch of COVID issues. They had a bunch of injury issues as well. They were without Jaylen Brown, obviously, for the postseason, and had to play their way into that 7th spot just to meet up with the Nets in the first place. They're done in 5. Here's head coach Brad Stevens.
All right, we'll start with Jay King.
Brad, there was obviously a lot of a burden on Jason Tatum throughout this season and during this run, too, in the playoffs. How do you think he handled that, and what do you want him to take from this experience, both basketball and otherwise?
Jay, I think he handled it as well as you could possibly handle it. I mean, the amount of attention that he's getting throughout the whole season, but certainly in the last couple games, is really hard to operate under. They've got a lot of smart players. Kevin Durant is all over him with great length and ability to challenge shots, and Jason just continuously found ways to make plays. I thought that he did a really good job. Obviously we didn't do enough as a team tonight to be successful, but I think he showed a lot of mettle this year when you consider what he went through with COVID, what he went through with coming back from COVID, and then the level he went to at the end of the year.
Mark Murphy.
Hi, Brad. As evidenced by the 3 guys you didn't have tonight, you haven't had a good look at the team you thought you had this year. How much do you think this is going to change? What do you think you have going forward?
Well, obviously we've got some really good players and some proven guys, but we have to improve. There's several ways to do that. You improve through, obviously continued development and the right work ethic, and doing a good job with the developmental stuff. And then there, obviously is the ability to acquire people. And so, this team that beat us is a very good team. There are very good teams across the East, and we're going to have to get better. We never got a true look at this team this year, but I think we have enough information that shows that we need to get better.
Brian Robb.
So they finished 36-36, as I mentioned. They were part of the play-in tournament and were able to secure that 7th spot. I should have mentioned Kemba Walker in addition to Jaylen Brown, both missing basically for the postseason as it was. Brown for the entirety of the postseason. Kemba Walker the last couple of games with a knee problem, missed 29 games during the season as well. A bunch of health and safety absences and some real decisions for Danny Ainge to make as well. Assuming that Boston's going to stick with the Tatum, Brown, Kemba Walker trio as their core. What else will Boston need to get better in the East?
I think some more shooters. I think you always can have more shooters on on a team that have guys that ISO a lot. Kemba ISO guy, and Jason's a ISO guy. And I think having one big that can score down there. I'm biased. I'm a big, and that's what I did. So I think having one big also helps too.
They traded Daniel Tice during the season. Obviously, they wanted to open up minutes for Robert Williams, who's more of a lob target than, another kind of scorer, really. That's what he does. He's a rebounder, shot blocker, lob kind of target. It seems as though they like him enough to stick with him moving forward. What else needs to happen in Boston?
I think, like you said, a big, been able to score down there. But I think also they got to really take a close look on Kemba Walker. I mean, there's been the same injury, to my understanding, this season, this postseason, and then also in the bubble last year. So where do you go with Kemba Walker if this is a lingering issue from now and the rest of his career? Hopefully not, because I, love watching Kemba. But I think if he's not healthy, where do you go? And I think for them is now, the one thing about them, they have two wings, but they need somebody else, just a dynamic guy that can be able to knock down the shots, whether it's a big or it's a guy like Evan Fournier. He didn't get a chance to get in the rhythm.
Right.
And then their bench, they got to get deeper, whether it's through free agency or development. A lot of these guys, I thought, Romeo Langford played well in this, last 3 or 4 games, but overall, their development of some of these young players just hasn't been there.
Yep. Down the stretch of the regular season and into the playoffs, you saw a lot of young players who probably weren't ready for significant minutes in playoff situations in the rotation for Boston. A lot of work to do there. And for Brooklyn, they'll start the second round, the conference semifinals against Milwaukee on Saturday. LA, it's been great having you with us.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice job tonight.